Today we are going to begin by talking about intentional circular references. What is a circular reference? That's right, it's when a cell either refers to itself or it refers to another cell that maybe refers to another cell that refers to the original cell. Now, like we talked about in debugging, generally that's an error, but sometimes we do it on purpose. It helps us to solve problems and make decisions that we wouldn't be able to as easily otherwise. Moving to the next worksheet, you'll note some of the problems. Let's first, though, go up here to File, Options, and under Formulas, click on Enable Iterative Calculations. Now you'll notice there's a couple of other options here that we could change. One says the maximum iterations is 100 before Excel will quit and stop recalculating. Another possibility is the maximum change of 0.001. In other words, if the results don't change by very much, then at some point it'll say, oh, I'm close enough, I'll quit. This is the answer. As noted here, Excel will continue this iteration process until it either reaches that maximum or things don't change as much, whichever comes first. All open workbooks, though, do use the same calculation and iteration settings. You can't have one book open with intentional circular references and another open without circular references allowed. And if I create a new workbook, the new workbook will use the same iteration settings as was used in the last closed workbook. Let's look at a short illustration. Let me delete this. Here we have a problem that we have contributions are based on net profit. That is, they're to be 5% of net profit. But net profit is calculated by taking the gross income minus the expenses minus the contributions. Therefore, we have a circular reference. Let's solve this by clicking here and equaling 5% times the net profit. Enter. The result is it keeps putting different numbers in C33 until it solves the problem. It does this using what we call hill climbing algorithms. That is, it will put in a number, and if the next number a little bit to one side or the other is closer, then it will continue in that direction. If it's further away, then it will reverse direction. It keeps getting closer and closer and closer until there's no change or it's reached its maximum. In this case, it reached $2,880.95. Let's first look at a few fun things that we can do with circular references. In the time stamping, you'll notice if I click on one of these empty cells in column A and put in a value, an employee ID, then it came over here and put in the current date and time. However, if I correct an old employee ID, it didn't change the timestamp over here. But I can delete an employee and it will delete the timestamp. So what is going on? Let's click in this cell C7. It says if is blank A7 over here in the column A, then put in a blank in this cell. However, if not, then if C7 is blank, put in now, the function now, so the current date and time. Otherwise, if it's not blank, then just put what was in C7 back in C7. Play with it just a little bit. Next, we come to the high value worksheet. Here, we are clicked on B4. The formula states to give the max of cells B7 through B18, comma, or whatever is already in B4. So let's change a couple of these values. What if we come down here and put in 5 million? You'll notice now that the maximum is $5 million. Later, if I delete this $5 million, the maximum is still $5 million. This would allow us to delete all of these months and start a new year. How could we reset what is in B4? It still has the $5 million. That's right, we could delete the formula and then replace it. We can do essentially the same thing by coming up here and either clicking in the formula bar or hitting F2, edit the formula, and then hit enter. When we do that, it takes what's down here. It does not look what's already in B4 because that would be blank.